You
Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you on another beautiful morning alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino. The weekend is here, a day away from the Alabama Stakes. We have 11 races for you. Get out of here about 7 o'clock. 7 and 11 are off the turf as of this moment. The rest are staying on, but races 7 and 11 as of this moment off the turf. But another beautiful morning, which we had yesterday, and then we had rain.
It was hard to believe because it was a gorgeous day, and then all of a sudden, boom, a deluge. And I pulled up the radar, and there was like one little dot essentially over the racetrack. It was really over Saratoga, but and then it just kind of lingered a little bit, knocked the last couple of races off the turf. But, yeah, it was a gorgeous day that just all of a sudden – and there was a period where they were coming on the track for maybe the 7th, and it looked like probably right here at Clare Court. There were a couple of bolts of lightning zipped down before it actually started to rain. And then the rain came down. And as I say, a couple of races moved off and a couple of races moved off today. But we remain on for some of the races. So, but again, looks like another gorgeous morning. But I won't make any predictions.
No. And then tomorrow, even the weather industry is like, we don't know. Thunderstorms pop up, whatever. So, you know, it's just the nature of it. And it's another example where I'd have to say, Seth, at this point, my last hurdle of trepidation with becoming a horizontal player is the situation we have yesterday. And I was over dinner with my wife. I was just, laying out the difference in the pick 3 rules with the pick 4s, the 5s, and the 6s. And my wife was like, well, that doesn't seem really fair. I go, I don't have a solution, but very few people like being assigned the favorite. If I wanted the favorite, I would have bet it.
Played the favorite. So then you get it twice if you did play the favorite. And, I played a pick 4, late pick 4.
So
and then
the
the announcement came out, and I canceled the pick 4.
Okay. Now, do you remember? I think this happened, and wasn't there a very brief period of time when if you were on track, you could change the horse?
You could put alternates in. I think that's right. There
and
was also the day when they had the parlay cards
that got kicked to the curb. The adjustment, which seemed to be an improvement, was adjusted and kicked out. So that really, to me, seems like, or obviously I could just take if I apply my trade at the California tracks, there's less chance I'd run into that type of situation ever. But they have short fields, and I have to look into that. But, obviously it's come up where, through the years it's evolved. I mean, it used to be horrible when they took them off the turf. Then they just made it all, which seems to be the fairest thing they could do, etc. But that's a hurdle for me. That's a tough thing to wrap my head around where, you play it seriously. But
I'd say the vast majority of days, though, you can kind of foresee. You'll know. Yesterday, as I say, was kind of quirky because it just popped up out of nowhere. Most days, you kind of have an idea of it's going to be a perfectly nice day.
Yeah.
You can jump in and play with a certain level of confidence.
So yesterday, interesting day, especially, it's kind of, you looked up and all of a sudden it looked like the old days to see a slop on the racetrack.
Oh, man.
It
came down for a while.
Yes.
So, the last couple of races, there was kind of some standing water there. I got home last night, and I must have hit Boston Spock because it was one of those you can tell there was some kind of real storm because there's leaves and little branches.
Oh, branches came down.
Like,
Ooh.
geez,
See, this is an example
wasn't
where
quite
I
that
live in the
bad up
Capital
here.
District. Seth lives up here. I had a beautiful evening.
Like I said,
beautiful.
you could see on the radar. It was not a big swath by any means. But,
So that's why, and tomorrow, obviously one of the 2 or 3 biggest days of the meet, the Alabama Stakes, and there seems to be weather. I like what they say, we're going to have weather. We always have weather.
Yeah.
But it seems like we're going, it could happen. It could happen in Albany. It could happen in Saratoga. Who knows? But as I've often stated, one of the great advantages to being a vertical player is, none of these types of things really matter. You're going to bet, 1 minute before post time. And, I haven't seen too many things pop up in 1 minute, but it could happen.
Yeah, not that it hasn't happened,
Yeah.
but far less often. Reminder today, if you're coming up to the racetrack, trucker hat giveaway day. Again, not in my wheelhouse, but I think a lot of people do like them. So if you're a trucker hat person, today's the day to swing up here. Free with paid admission while supplies last. So trucker hat giveaway day today. Clubhouse Racebook this afternoon. Knockout challenge. So a little extra fun down at the Clubhouse Racebook on this Friday. Swing down, enjoy the races, and try to pick up a little extra something with the knockout challenge today. 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Also, Fan Appreciation Day today. 2 spots: the Boulevard Bowl and Queensberry. I'm gonna have to ask Shannon, because I'm sure Shannon Donovan, who typically administers the Fan Appreciation Days, I'm sure it's not double duty. So I got to find out who else. Maybe Nate or
Maybe
Mike.
flip the coin. And you've done the Queensberry one, right?
Yeah, I've been at both of them. Both of
Okay.
them are really nice locations and a lot of fun and great.
I think
folks
I did
there.
the Queensberry one once about 7 years ago.
It's very convenient, and there's a good crowd there. But again, Fan Appreciation Day is our chance to say thank you to you. Food, contest, always a lot of fun. Both the Queensberry branch and the Boulevard Bowl. That's this afternoon. Tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook, the King of the Hill contest is back. So take your shot tomorrow at the Racebook. Also tomorrow, the Bounty Bet, the final pick 5 here at Saratoga. Play with your Capital OTB bet account, and you get a shot at the Bounty. And Saturday, I will have the $150 pick 3 bankroll again. So far, it's been a mixed bag.
Sunday.
Picked up. I said tomorrow. Yeah, Sunday I will have the pick 3 bankroll. Thank you.
I thought you had a big opinion in the Alabama. You wanted to move it up and go at it.
We'll see about tomorrow. But Sunday, again, been a mixed bag. We made a little bit of money for folks for 3 weeks. A couple of them did not have anything, but we were sitting on some big days on the 3 that we did okay and just couldn't quite knock it out of the park. But we'll try to do that for the team this Sunday. Entries open today at noon. Go to capitalotb.com, put your name in to potentially get on the pick 3 bankroll team. And coming up at 10 o'clock, rescheduled from yesterday, hope to have Horacio DePaula with the trainers until they're sitting there. I never know, because they're taking care of horses, and you just never know what might happen. But Horacio DePaula won the nice stake, the Susie O'Kane, a couple of days ago. We'll talk about that. He's having a nice meet, so looking forward to talking to Horacio. Mike McAdam pops in. He was here this morning watching some of the workouts, and it was supposed to be some nice Travers workouts. And I guess with the weather, they're delaying a little bit, so there weren't as many Travers workouts. But we'll talk to Mike in a little bit. And big day tomorrow at Woodbine with the King's Plate. Great undercard of stakes. So who else to talk to but our friend Keith McCalmont? Now with the New York Racing Association, we will certainly talk some Saratoga with Keith. But we got to know Keith on our trips up to Woodbine when he was working up there. So who better to talk to than a Canadian about the
And is your next
King's
trip about
Plate.
a month away?
Yeah, Woodbine Mile.
Amazing
Exactly.
how time just went. About the trucker hat, just one thing. I'm not. You got me the baseball jersey, which I did want. I'm with you. I don't want this one, but I will tell you, they weren't called trucker hats. I remember these back in the late 70s because I purchased a couple. Sports. They were college teams and pro teams, and they're making a comeback. I've seen them where, and I will tell you that I always liked them because I always thought with regular ball caps, honestly, they started to smell your hair and everything like that. But the trucker ones were airy. But I remember them. I had a USC one, obviously, and I also had a Navy midshipman one. But I always thought they were elegant. And then I saw a print ad for the new ones. They look very sharp.
Yeah, no,
I
as I
like
say,
them.
it's not my style,
No,
but
I
a lot of
understand.
people like them. And I will also alert you because I have done it and it works. You think the brim, you toss them into the washing machine,
Yes.
your regular cap.
Yep.
And you
Absolutely.
think the brim's gonna like, oh, is that gonna? But
Now, do you do it freestyle? Or you just throw it in, or do you? Because they have the forms.
oh, do they
They
really?
have forms that you can
Yeah,
wash
I
your
usually
ball
just
caps and
toss
keep
it
the
in,
form.
toss it in, and,
Yeah.
and it holds up.
Yeah,
So,
because I've had many golf ones get dingy after a season or two, and I kind of like the cap. Like I have a Titleist USC one that I do like. So you just throw them in, but they have forms.
Yeah, that's
you want
true.
to
I
keep
mean,
the shape.
that I should make that clear. I'm not that enamored with my cat. There's a couple that I like. I'll toss in, but usually it gets to the point where it's like, you know,
Whose are they?
It's a Race Lens Stats. Ellis Starr gave me when we were out in Vegas a few years ago. That's a nice cap, but it fits nice. It's just a nice cap. That's typically the one.
And I probably have it says I have missed. There's nothing that I would replace the last 18 years raising young Anthony. But I am chomping at the bit to get back to Vegas, which Denise and I have not gone since our son was born. But I love Vegas. I think it's.
I'm telling you, you should play some contests, try to get out to the NHC because you get some of those days where a couple of your outsiders pop.
That's what Denise said. She's like, you're going to be last or pretty good, and I think she's right. If they are most of them, you always told me though are on Saturday, which makes sense, right? But a Sunday one,
not all of them. There's Sundays as well.
Sunday would be good for me.
So, that's why it's tough for me to play in a lot of them. But,
no, you're people. It's funny that. It's almost impossible for Seth to attend and go to the races of town during the year because you work them, for the house. So it's and I told you I have Pleasanton Fair, and I'm going to find out about the golf. It's in the crosshairs, and the Fresno Fair is not out of the question either. I'm very intrigued by these. I wish we still had them in the East, right? Does anybody have them in the East anymore?
Well,
which is where they started.
On the harness side, I think Maine still does.
Yes,
well, they're fun. They're fun.
Okay,
Cumberland County Fair, but my hesitation on that is I think Cumberland now races much of the year has replaced Scarborough Downs up in May. But Cumberland County, it used to be kind of end of September, beginning of October. That was fun. That was worth the trip. But yeah, on the thoroughbred side, I mean, Massachusetts was
because if you live here, Massachusetts was a circuit.
Yeah.
Now they're all gone. But what's not going is 11 today. We're going to get to the DePaula play of the day, 11 today. But please remember the 7th and the 11th are off the turf as of now. Now it is time for that aforementioned DePaula Chevrolet play of the day.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy here with your DePaula play of the day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We've been giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet. And after showing a flat bet profit for our bankroll team last year, we keep the ball rolling this year, as after 9 selections, we have 3 wins, 4 placings, and 2 showings, while netting more than a 30% profit in wagers for the bankroll team. Today's play today will be in race number 10, the number 1, Dancing Dean, and that's for turf only. This mock charge has taken to the grass quite nicely since being switched over to the stuff back in the fall, as she's rung up a win, a showing, and a 4th place finish from as many starts on it. She was a bit antsy in the gate last time out and made a move at the top of the stretch before petering out a bit to finish 3rd that day. With that start on the Mellon course and being 2nd time Lasix today and being in the 3rd off the layoff spot and sliding in 5 slots to the wood, we think this is an attractive 1, 2, 3 player, which bodes well for the style of bet we'll be making. So once again, our DePaula play of the day from Saratoga Race Course is in race number 10, number 1, Dancing Dean. Have a wonderful day at the races, and we'll see you at the track.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 1, going the mile distance. And we've seen that picked up the frequency with the mile distances. I thought the first 2 weeks there weren't, because they seemed to have become in love with them. And the Wilson shoot got obliterated yesterday on X and Twitter.
Which I don't.
I
wish
mean,
somebody would explain
obliterate.
why
Some
they hate
famous
it. I don't-
person said they would come up here and destroy it.
Yeah, I don't. I wish somebody would say what really sets them off, because I don't. Nothing's jumped out at me. And in fact, I pulled up. If you go to Formulator, they will parse out by post positions at the mile. Just to give you an idea, out of post position, there's been 32 races. Post position 1, 6 winners. 2, 4 races. 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 3, 6, 4 wins. 7, 3 wins. So it seems like it's pretty fairly balanced as far as post position. So again,
does it say what the largest field size was?
Well, it doesn't, but
Okay.
Oh wait, no, it does, because you go down to
Go by the post
10.
position.
Yeah, 10. 8, 9, and 10 have had 0, but they've only had a limited number. 8 has had 13 races,
And 9.
9 has had 7 races. 10 has had 4 races.
So
But
over
but
24.
no, yeah,
That's
8, 9, and 10.
And as I said,
suppose
I mean,
that's worth keeping in mind.
maybe there's something, but I was watching it yesterday, and I thought for a brief moment I was going to get 3 extra seconds, because I believe I could tell they were starting to come towards the apex of the turn, which is what I wanted to see, and they went away from it. But so 0 for 24, quick math, 8, 9,
8,
and 10.
9, and 10.
Now, I love stats. I usually do not enjoy the way they're used, because I would love to see, and I've tried to tell our son about this, average is, when you were kids, you were taught the mode, the mean, and the median. The mean is the average. I don't like the mean. I like the median, where you get a feel for the same number above it, same below it. Because for example, with mutuals, if you get $100 horse, it skews the average disproportionately, but it doesn't skew the median. It just puts one above the line. So but my point being, I'd be very interested to know what the odds were of the 24 horses that drew post position 8, 9, and 10. Now, off the top of my head, anecdotally, I'd say there was probably 5 to 7 of them that were less than 6 to 1, which to me means you have a fighting chance in the race. And then, of course, I'd want to know those 6 to 1 shots. Were they racing against 3 to 5 shots or 4 to 1 shots? So there's a lot into it, but you just look at it geometrically. I don't think anybody's raising their hand to say, "Yeah, I'll take the 10."
Yeah,
That'd be
outside,
fun.
yeah.
That'd be fun. So, but remember, the Breeders' Cups that have been held at Belmont Park in the Classic, where you started the turn, all outside posts. All right, a mile claimers 25,000 in the opener, right outside here.
7, 6, 1, and 5. I'm going to put pretty extreme on top. Linda Rice trainee claimed for 42 back, and then came back in an optional claimer. Non-winners of 2 other than. So claimed and then moved into a little stiffer company, ran 5th that day. I think now goes below the level of the claim. This is one of those I can go either way with, but it's Saratoga. I tend to be a little more lenient, because I think folks are shopping for wins.
How is
up here.
Dylan Davis going to win on a 2 to 1 shot?
That
He doesn't even know how that works.
That may be the stumbling block. Not a big enough price for Dylan. But I do think, again, this horse will be a cozy fit in here. Trade Secret in the 2nd spot. Rudy Rodriguez claimed and moved into the Rudy Barn last time down at Belmont at Aqueduct off a good effort. And if you look down the last few races, all have been pretty good. So this one's in some pretty good form, moves up the claiming ladder. But you know what? It's another one of those, when you look at this field, I think the horse is going to fit. And then Halo City, class-wise, I think is going to stack up okay. Was in an optional claimer starter allowance at the 25 level last time. A plain vanilla 25 claimer, I think, puts this horse in a little more of a palatable position given the talent level, and I think is a player in here. 7, 6, 1, and 5.
Similar to me, I just put Trade Secret On Top, Rudy's Barn going very well. I thought this, the numbers game at the bottom, the Pretty Extreme, you can, I think, feel very sure quantifying is taking a big drop. 12.5 up to 25 in New York. Some of that's just really the switch from Belmont to Saratoga. But I'm getting a much better price on Trade Secret. I have Halo City second start since the middle of April. The more recent one, a much tougher. April Antics for third as an outsider coming off of the W down at Aqueduct. I think can hit a small piece. 6-1-2 in the opener.
Not to get totally off topic, but
yes.
we haven't
I do it all the
We
time.
haven't mentioned it the past couple of days. How about the Carl Broberg news? Really, over the last few years, one of the winningest trainers in the country is giving it up and says the math doesn't work for him anymore. He's kind of the guy who played the claiming game, and he's kind of feeling like, at my level, it doesn't make sense. And now he's going out and kind of consulting, I guess.
I saw it, and one of the things I was thinking about, as I haven't read the article, but I saw that part where he said that the math doesn't work, and that intrigues me greatly, because in New York, I find it interesting that the horses are in for a tag that's less than the purse. So I don't. I remember when Carl Broberg, just burst on the scene a couple of years ago. At least I should say on my scene, my radar, and I was like, well, how can the claiming game not work if under this equation? If you're
New York has a whole different expense model too. I think it's expensive to race up here as compared to others. Carl Broberg doesn't really race in New York, so he's at other venues.
What I was figuring was he must have horses whose price tag, they must not have the same purse structure where they run for more. Because I think the whole idea would be, well, if I'm running for more than the asset's worth, that's a good game.
Yeah, but then again, I think the expense plays into it too. I think maybe it's just become overall more expensive. And
I think that.
But I was, when I read that, because again, for folks who follow the game, he's been one of the guys, top of the winning list. And
I think it's fair to say we need.
And I think he owns a lot of his horses too.
Tracks. I mean, this game cannot, because I think he also intimated that, or others have, that there's only going to be 2 or 3 jurisdictions and etc. And I don't think in the long term.
No, it was a little bit more concerning. I thought reading that.
I got to look into that.
All right, second race today, the Skidmore, named of course for the college right up the street. Both my sisters graduated from Skidmore. $150,000 up for grabs, 5.5 on the grass.
The second race. It just. Do you think they seem to want him in the early pick 5 more than the late pick 5? Yeah. And I think the early pick 5 have the CAWs. I think I'm learning this, that the late pick 5 doesn't have them. So they see, because this should be the 10th race. Yeah. You're almost thinking. We have the MTO with the 7, but as we said, right as of now, the 7-11 are off the turf. I took a flyer in here, 5-3-1. Steve Asmussen sends out the 5 for the third career start, which I like. Debut is sharp. Now this will be the turf debut. Now maybe Steve was looking for an off-the-turf race, but he entered the main body. But I think I'm in the boat with many people, Seth. I don't think in these sprint races we divide turf and dirt horses as much as we do in route races. I think people would just rather have the speed and take their chances that the turf, works out. So that's what I'm doing with Spiralizer at 8-1, the offspring of Twirling Candy. For second, Governor Sam, 7-5 on the board, trying to make it 3 in a row. Won the Tyro. And then for third, Jet Sweep Joe, Seth's other favorite team, just got beat in the Tyro at 30-1. That price is gone, but 5-3-1 for me.
Yeah, I kept my picks the same, turf and dirt. If you go over to the website, you can see dirt picks out. So I wasn't going to switch either way. But again, 7 and 11 are switched up later. But Governor Sam does have the nice turf form, obviously, and having won a stake on the turf already seems perfectly logical in here. Raise the bar, moves dirt to turf, but it's a Wesley Ward runner, and this Wesley Ward going 4.5 with the 2-year-old at Keeneland got it done as he was supposed to. But Wesley Ward with turf sprinters is very good as well. raised the bar, I think is very dangerous in here, stepping out of maiden company into a little stakes race, and then classic time in the third spot. How do you avoid Mark Cassidy? Again, we'll have Keith in later looking at the King's Plate. He's phenomenal up at Woodbine, and he's got some live runners on that stakes card tomorrow up there. But
I think he was put in their Hall of Fame a couple of years ago.
Yeah, deservedly so. But again, having a phenomenal meet. I would ignore anything he's sending out. 3, 6, 4, and 1.
Yeah, just when you thought maybe the white hot streak was over, it just re-energizes itself. On to the third state bred entry level allowance, going 6.5.
1, 4, 6, and 5. Top of the page, I wrote kind of an evenly matched punch, but I did think the plain one, Landioro, maybe has a little bit of an edge here, given what we saw last time. You see the trouble line. I pulled up the replay, bumped early, and it was legit. Did get a pretty good bump early, kind of, was moving, and in fact, made a pretty good middle move, but had been bumped and went to the back and then made the middle move to kind of be in contention. About mid-stretch, you thought, oh, this horse is going to be a player, but I just think that middle move took too much out. So with a cleaner trip, I think Landioro might have a little bit of an edge. Toscano in the second spot. The Larry Ravelli runner came to Saratoga from the Hawthorne base and was a good second Belmont Stakes meet, and then followed it up last time and was disappointing. But the disappointing effort was on a sloppy sealed track going 2 turns. I think the cut back to the sprint today will be a re-energizer. Boss Tweed in the third spot for Gary Contessa. Has some early speed from the outside. Could be dangerous with that. So 1, 4, 6, and 5.
Could you just, before you turn your own page, because I got these PPs early and I transcribed the official program numbers. Is the longest shot 6-1?
4-1, 6-1. You are correct. There are 2 6-1
How
shots.
often have you ever seen the board? And as we said, we're here to, the reason I bring it up is because David Aragona is great at this. They're between 2-1 and 6-1. I don't know that I've ever seen that, but I think it's completely appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, the long shots are 2 6-1 shots. I thought for a moment, because usually there's like a 15-1 shot. But I think that perfectly is emblematic. I'm actually shocked we have 2 of the 3 that match. And I took Toscano. I took Liberty Central, the veteran in the group, on top, who was one of the 6-1 shots. And I have to say, it's twofold. One is, I think, can absolutely compete with this group. And I'm the long shot in a race that's 7 deep. And I have experience, and I seem to be at my athletic best right now. So I'm taking a chance off the March 24th most recent effort with number 3, Liberty Central. And I've been a big fan of Central Banker. He's one of the 3 sons of Spicetown. That's going to keep that line going. Munnings is the second one. I can't think of the third one now. But then I have Toscano for second, 1 on debut as Seth Anthony out Chicago way, and then Landioro. But to me, very unique. And I think it is accurate that 2, 4, 6, basically everybody. Toscano's the only odd number in here at 3-1. But I think David makes a great point with his morning line.
No, very evenly matched bunch. Fourth race today will be my dark horse.
Break? Oh, what are you
dark
do?
horse play today.
Oh, you're going to the 4th race.
Yeah.
Wow, so this is really foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Before and after.
Dark horse play today in the 4th. And yesterday's, we were just too far back early. Made a nice late run, but it was I knew early we were just going to be up against it in the stretch, and we were. That horse from yesterday, I'm forgetting the name. I think we have one to keep our eyes on from yesterday. But today in the 4th race, I'm going to go with number 7, Allied Attack. I talk about it quite a bit. I love this move. State bred allowance into an open claimer, open conditional claimer, even better. And this one goes out for Mike Maker and Jose Ortiz, stepping out of those state bred allowance races. And oftentimes, that's why it's an attractive class move. You get races like we saw recently for this one that are going to help the odds. And
we always like that.
That class move kind of overcomes that often. We're also going back to the dirt. I thought some of the dirt races underneath were okay. In fact, Mike Maker, I pulled it up on Formulator, last 3 years going turf to dirt. here at Saratoga. 11 for 40, 28%. So nice move for the trainer. That parsed out a little further, going sprint to route. It wasn't quite as good, but I still think on the class move, this one is very intriguing. We're getting 6-1 on the morning line. So today's dark horse play of the day, race number 4, horse number 7, Allied Attack, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway in downtown Saratoga. Swing by, say hello, and enjoy a visit to both. They're open late. If you're at the track today and go out for dinner, stop by and enjoy a browse. Thanks again to the folks at Dark Horse and Impressions for sponsoring the Dark Horse Play of the Day.
My 2 favorite games to play in the morning here is one is to guess who is going to come out of off the turf races. The other is to try and rapidly guess what Seth's long shot of the day is once he says what race it is. I would have been close. It was my second pick for
that class move always
it's
attracts
very
my
attractive.
attention.
Listen, as I said, what's it the old moth to the fire thing? It's like horses that show dramatically good speed and then crumble. I'm a sucker. We'll be right back with more from the spot.
In 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Seth, Merrow, Anthony Mormino, live from our Clare Court location. Again, coming up top of the hour, Horacio DePaz. We've got the thumbs up, so the rescheduled DePaz visit is on. Mike McAdam and Keith McCalmont talking some Saratoga, and with Keith, we'll talk a little Kings Plate tomorrow. Big day down at Woodbine, or up at Woodbine tomorrow afternoon.
I know it's worked for them, but hasn't worked. You used to go be able to see
it
when they changed the schedule. Plate, was just before the meet started.
Yeah, before COVID kind of knocked it, and I think they've become happy with the.
I think they're very happy.
The schedule
I agree. I think
now,
they love the schedule.
But yeah, it doesn't work for us. 4th race this afternoon, conditional claimer, and again, we're coming out of the chute at a mile.
I guess it's a double negative time for me. 3, 5, 6, please. Andy can't. Better not. I need Andy to can. To do it. Second off the claim, first one was a tougher spot. I'm not holding much against that because we've been in good form of late. And one of the things I've mentioned is particularly, I'm not interested in mentioning it when the horse is 3-2 or 2-1, but Andy Can is 5-1 in the morning line. And the one thing that I've used for a very long time is the buyer par. We have the skill set. We've already displayed the skill set that we can run that. And I'm not talking in lifetime past performances going 2, 3, 4 back. So recency. So Andy can't better. For a second, number 5, Whiskey and Soda, making the 4th career start. First off the claim. And for third, number 6, Gregory Sacco sends out Frizzante, I believe, coming out of Monmouth Park. 2-turn races, which I think will help going the mile. 3, 5, 6.
Have yours right underneath 7, 3, 5, and 6. Again, 7 Allied Attack. Mentioned that with the Dark Horse play on that class move. I like this one quite a bit. Andy Can't, is certainly live if you draw a line through that last race. The last race was against a little bit tougher. Gets back down to the level of the claim and the level of a good race. 2 back makes sense. Whiskey and Soda is the interesting horse. We come back to that last race, may run away with this but being lightly raced, coming off a claim, moving up a little bit. Will we get to that? I think we'll find out what the talent level actually is for this lightly raced horse this afternoon. And again, if we get back to that last one, yes. If not, the horse is right in the mix of things. So for me, 7, 3, 5, and 6.
Do you find anything interesting about the word whiskey?
Whiskey?
Just the word, not the horse.
No, I was no.
I think this is true. I think there's two very accepted spellings of the word.
Whiskey?
Without the E and with the E.
Without the E is a...
I think that's true.
Really?
I think that's a very accepted... and I can't think of too many words that's the case. I think the word gray, I think it's very accepted between the A and the E, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think whiskey is one of the
might
other
be
ones.
right.
I feel 95% sure there are whiskey bottles without the E, and there are whiskey bottles with the E.
Well, then that would be accepted either way. Gray, definitely. There's no question
gray
there.
and whiskey are two of the very few that I've ever come across that it's acceptable. On to the fifth. Restricted claimers.
With the same meaning, we should say.
Oh,
like bear
point.
and bear,
Yeah,
B-E-A-R, B-A. There are plenty
Very
of
good
those,
point.
but
Very
it
good,
hold the same meaning.
Restriction, yes, meaning the same thing. Restricted claimers going 8.5 on the inner turf course.
10, 2, 7, and 4. I'll put Sacred Image on top. I've mentioned it plenty of times, and I've downgraded some horses in here in the morning with the post position situation. A mile and 16th on the grass. But this one, Chad Brown, Peter Brandt, Allowance Company down to claimers. I'm going to give this one a little bit of an edge. But again, the post position scares me. If the post position scares you, how about Highway Harmony, who is making that class move that I like quite a bit? State bred allowance into an open conditional claimer. I debated because of that and the better post position, putting that one on top. I'll certainly have this one prominently displayed in any plays I make. But from Hello in the third spot, Dylan Davis on board for Bruce Brown. Comes in off some recent races that I think are okay on the numbers and fit with this bunch. The finishing positions in 2 of the last 3 are right there, and those are the races we're looking to get back to, and I think that's certainly possible in here. It was a very similar event last time, and we're in a decent little third. Should be in the mix again today. 10, 2, 7, and 4.
And yes, we have the Chad Brown runner in here. It was 5-2. As you said, the outside post probably helps. I think it's going to be even more interesting. I think it's more competitive. I think if Chad Brown had even drawn, the middle of the pack post position, I still think this race is on paper very competitive. And I like Sizzle the other day, scratched out. I like Sizzle today. 4-2-5. I think we're going to receive a very solid price off the 6-1 morning line. Love the effort down at Gulfstream Park. That was the 3rd career start. That was in May. Comeback run for a tag for the first time since being claimed. But Sizzle draws a good post position in here. I think Tyler Gaffleone, who is on fire, can only help. For second, I have Highway Harmony going out for Jorge Abreu off of good efforts at the 1X level. The New York Reds and then Wish List, a outsider looking in. But boy, the 2 races at Monmouth, and I have, there's no demerits of running at Monmouth and coming to the spot. 4-2-5.
Race number 6 on this Friday afternoon. State-bred maiden claimers. They will go 3/4 of a mile.
And outsider in here, 3-1-5 for me. And with a veteran in the group at 0 for 13, and, I can understand why that would give pause. But, and you have to go through the races where, you take not a red flare pen, but a light one, and you eliminate these off-the-turfers, and you look for some, fast goings, and we've hit the board in half of them. So I'm taking a shot with number 3, Dundon Causeway, going out for Jennifer Paragallo. Finished second most recently, but that was in the slot. But if you just edit out some of these races that I'm thinking as 940 might not be applicable at 349. For second, Mama's Midi, who is the Mount Everest in this race. Second start since May 18th when it ran its career best, but got whooped. And for third, Charlie Baker sends out the 5. Shortening up after mile races. Once again, if you take out the mile races, I think he fits 3-1-5.
We're in the same ballpark. I have yours down in the 4th spot, 1, 5, 6, and 3. I put Mama's Midi on top, but up the last, there's not a lot of confidence. But it was, a muddy track off the turf going the mile. I think cut back to the 6, and a little half step further down the claiming ladder puts us in the mix here. Erie Man in the 2nd spot for Charlie Baker. Again, been knocking around this company lately, and it's been okay. But I think if you look at this particular group, should fit Brockett in the 3rd spot, 2nd off the claim. And again, they take a little half step back down the claiming ladder to the level of the claim where the horse ran decently early in the meet. In the 6th for me, 1, 5, 6, and 3.
What intrigues me about the 1 very much is this stat would interest me very good. His career best, he got throttled. So I don't know how much I put in, like, that the number is really representative of the winner more than it.
I'm totally with you on a handicapping aspect. When I look at these.
When you get crushed and that's your career best, I don't know how confident I am in that number being representative of what you
But the
can
fact
do.
of the matter is, the 5 maybe has a little bit better form, a couple of thirds going back, but the rest of the
But what if
field
he's a
isn't really
50?
running super.
He gets beat at 9-5 today, right? The 50's not going to get it done. What did he get, a 58 for the race that he got beat by 18 lengths or something? I'm just intrigued that,
if there was somebody in here who
like
was a little more consistent, I'd be right with you as far as tilting in another direction. I think the whole field is kind of in that same ballpark.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 5.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back. This is an odd race, so Anthony would normally intro, and I'll let you intro the race. But we were talking golf carts during the break, and I said, I have to give a shout out because I rant about the neighborly aspect of the golf cart, where the last week I've been walking over. I've had 5 people drive by me with just one person in the car. Come on, but yesterday, Mark Hennig. So I'm giving Mark a big thumbs up. I was on my way back, and I'm getting splashed by people zipping by puddles back here. It's like, oh, no, Mark pulled up and very nicely gave me a ride the last half of the way over here. So, again, Mark doing the neighborly. I'm always going to give a thumbs up to the neighborly folks. And so thanks to Mark.
Couple whacks to the undisclosed others in the group, though. But, that seems odd to be one per. I mean,
I don't get I don't get it. Just seems like it would be an automatic. You're driving along, somebody's walking, and you have nobody.
I agree.
Hey,
it would seem automatic. State breds, maiden juveniles going 5.5 on the turf, race 7.
And I should note, people drive by me in cars. Dude, the car is a whole. Then you got to get in the car. I got to deal with the backpack. People in cars, I don't blame, but the golf cart, geez, be a neighbor. 7.
Seth will be happy. He'll jump on the back. Like, he doesn't have to ride
exactly.
with
you. It's quick. I latch on and you're off. 7, 4, 3, and 10 for me in the 7th. Paid the juice. Going out for Shug. Paid a decent amount of money for the horse, a couple $100,000 down at Ocala in March. There is a trouble line. I was curious. Yeah, the horse was bumped, but it was right at the shadow of the wire. So, I don't know if you can do a whole. I mean, the horse was close anyway, so it's not like you're getting much of a change in the situation. But by Omaha Beach, who is a pretty good sire, first out runners. And this one has the nice experience under the belt. Augustin Farm, for folks who don't know, the nom de plume of Bill Parcells. So we'll see if the coach can get it done with Pay the Juice with that nice first out experience under the belt. Swift Magic going out for our friends at Bonaventure Stables. So we're certainly rooting for that one. And I think very eligible to be perfectly live in here. Good Samaritans so far. First-time starters this year, 54 of them. 4 wins, 7 seconds, 5 thirds. So nice numbers there. Horse has a couple of siblings. One of them, Frango Electrico, was 6th in debut and won the second career start, albeit on dirt. But given the situation, maybe that's okay. And then in the third spot, Army Proud, who this is the first full, but with Army Mule on top. Okay with first-time starters. And again, this is a second-time starter, but you look for win early there. Now, Army Proud and Pay the Juice both debuted on turf. We'll see how it works out. This one has been moved over to the dirt. But my picks were the same either way. I put the number 11 down at the bottom of the mix. So, if we do get some scratches, I have it 7, 4, 3, and 10, and I'd pull the 11 into the mix, given the situation.
As of this moment, 7 11 are off the turf. I misspoke. I like Army Proud even more so here, 3, 7, 5. I like the debut very much, and you would think an Army Mule, an extremely talented runner for Todd Pletcher, if memory serves me right. We talked about this before. I think 3 career starts.
Career.
The Carter, right, was his last one, etc. And then I'll take Pay the Juice for the second start and Son of Honor. I want to say one thing yesterday. So 3-7-5 for me. And because I don't think it's going to happen too much anymore. But to see the Phipps family Silks win a race at Saratoga. Pentathlon, that was the entry. Short price, I heard talk about who liked which more, but to see the Phipps family,
rather
the
iconic, so
yes, black cherry cap find the winner's circle was nice because it does seem as if that train has come into the station.
Yeah, certainly not at the level that they used to be. So, 8th race today, a level of number of runners. 8th race today, optional claimer with a non-winner to 2 other than condition, back on the grass here at a mile.
6-1-2 for me, and Brad Cox sends out Alonda Queen, my top pick. I like the seasonal races building up to this. We had the big improvement and a little regression. We draw inside with Joel, and I like this Offspring of Australia. For second, scheduled to break from the number 8 post position is Tax Implication for Chad Brown coming out of the victory in the Eatontown, and then from the rail, Breathe Away, Christophe Clement's runner making the 3rd start of the year, 6-1-2.
1, 2, 5, and 6. Tax Implications on top for me. Just in very good form. Comes out of the win at Monmouth. Again, a little bit outside, going a mile on the turf. That might be a little bit of an obstacle. So I did put the number 2, who leaves from the inside post position for Clement, in the 2nd spot. Another one in good form. 3rd start back of the season, maybe primed for a move forward as well. And Malibu in the 3rd spot, another Christophe Clement runner. Another one making the 3rd start of the season with the possibility to move forward. And at 15-1, this is more Dylan Davis at 15-1.
Yeah, this is where he wants to win.
We'll see how it works out. 1, 2, 5, and 6.
I'll tell you one thing. He's got a chance to really turn in one of the best ROIs, but you have to have 2 things. You have to have a lot of mounts. I'm not taking the guys that go 3 for 10 and their ROI is $6. He's going to put in a full-time meet and having a tremendous one. I've told you the high water mark, and I'll take anybody who has the data that disproves this. Edgar Prado, 1999, came up here, had 1 win the first week. I think his ROI at the end was $3. He went crazy. I think that was a 6-week meet. His last 5 weeks were phenomenal, about as good as it gets. We'll take our final break. When we come back, the final pick 3.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Race number 9, the big sprint for the New York State bred filly and mares, the Union Avenue.
4, 7, 1, and 5. I think Tricky Temper looks good in here at 4-1. Comes off a nice win a little bit earlier in the meet for Jeremiah Engelhardt. And off of that, boy, if this horse can go back-to-back, that's the question, because it was the best race so far of the career. But to me, it just signals some good form right now. I'll go back to this one at 4-1. Second spot, Lilu. This is probably the horse to beat. Comes in off a close-up second in the Dancing Renee. When facing state breds, tends to do very well. Doesn't often face state breds, so gets the chance to get into this restricted type company again. And as I say, likely the one to beat, 6-5 on the morning line. But off the last race, I'm going to tilt towards Tricky Temper, and then Kara's Time in the third spot. Third start back off a little bit of an early season layoff. The comebacker was a nice win, followed it up running third, but I could see a rebound to what we saw 2 back, which puts Kara's Time right in the mix. 4, 7, 1, and 5.
I agree that I agree with you. I think the race goes to number 7, Lilu, who I'm wondering if she's going to be odds on in this race. It would just be around there, 4-5. But Tricky Temper to me, Jeremiah had an explosive beginning to the meet. This is a big spot. It's the logical spot after you win the 2X. You take it on, and we got our chance today at 4-1. Lilu coming out of multiple stakes effort, as Seth mentioned, an open company out of state. And then where we differentiate is I took security code to get a piece. I like the comeback race off of the March 24th layoff, 4-7-2 in the Union Avenue.
Race number 10 this afternoon. Optional claimers with the non-winners of one other than condition. They're scheduled here to stay on the grass. Mile 16th.
625 Toy Collector, 10-1 on the morning line. My top pick for Christophe Clement. First time versus winners, nearly won on debut, rooting, which is quite an accomplishment. The Delaware shipper was 7-10 off of that debut and won. I like Toy Collector, good post position draw in here. For a second, is it Goa? That's right, a place in India, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's a tourist. I could be wrong, but Chad Brown's runner makes the United States debut, draws in well, gets Lasix for the first time. For third, Pretty Anna, Chad Brown's other runner, moves into his barn from the Asmussen, 6-2-5.
9, 1, 4, and 2. I thought the 10 was also intriguing for Brad Cox, but I went with Vino Rouge. Fourth career start of the season. I thought overall, a couple of thirds bookending a second place finish. So I thought overall the starts this year have been okay. They've been competitive. I think matches up nicely with this group. But again, it's one of those where we're kind of stuck outside. That's a little bit of a concern. So on the inside, Dancing Dean, a player, goes out for Bill Mott. Nice maiden break or 2 back. The follow-up, an okay for it, but got experience against this type. Should benefit from that. And then Wrigleyville in the third spot, going out for Jack Sisterson. Broke the maiden 2 back. Again, got experience against this type last time. And I think should benefit from that. As I always say, sometimes it takes a start or two to figure out that next level. So let me ask you one question about your top pick, because we said it before, these trainers who come up from Monmouth, we've kind of discarded that as a negative. I think these guys have strings down at Monmouth that are potent, and they just need some stable room and what. But this one, your top pick comes in from some starts at Delaware.
Yes.
That to me is a little bit of a different story, that they shipped this horse for a couple starts down to Delaware.
The last couple of years, and these are just turf races, haven't really noticed any in dirt races. I have found them to be competitive when they've come up here on their turf racing.
That may be, because that was the old Jonathan Shepard angle for me. They would race down to Delaware often.
And I don't follow Delaware. There's just too much to do. But I'm just guessing that the turf set down there,
you might that may be valid.
Better across the board.
But I do think it's kind of a different scenario than the horses that are based down in
I agree,
Monmouth.
because it's in Monmouth, it's just like it's like a auxiliary press box. It's like a little place to go. On to the 11th, we are off the turf, going a mile. Maiden Claimer fillies in for 40.
I'll go out to the MTOs, 15, 16, 7, and 3. I'll put Not Guilty on top for Cherie DeVoe. They pull in, they get what they want, surface-wise. The race 2 back was against Maiden Specials. The number was okay. But again, with the surface switch and getting what they want, I'll go there. This horse isn't jumping off the page at me, even with the MTO situation. But again, there was enough there. Looking for Ginny in the second spot, the little third place finishing it off the turf for last time. Bodes well, I think, for the Ken McPeak runner. And then in the third spot, went into the body of the field, Bobby Jean, going out for the aforementioned Mark Hennig off a couple of off-the-turf sprints. Should be interesting in here. If they elect to stay, I think will absolutely be a player. And off the latest, I would think they would stay. 15, 16, 7, and 3.
Now, this is remarkable, in my opinion. There's 16 horses entered, Seth. You take the AEs, the MTOs. 15 of them are 3-year-olds. So I believe it's addressable market, am I correct here? Who I think, this is, what do you have for addressable market?
What number is addressable?
Okay, here's a funny thing I never saw happen. When I went, so does it say scratch?
Scratched, yeah.
When I did the earliest ones, he's in. So this is one of those races, folks. This would be a race for Mormino in Excel. Instead of 3 with the carrot, it will be a 3 with the ampersand, because there are no older horses in this race. Addressable market was the one of 16 non-3-year-olds.
Yeah.
I think the MTOs have the race over the barrel with you. We'll see what post positions they draw, the 15 and 16. But this is not a 3-year-old and up. These are 3-year-old fillies. Maiden Claimer's in for 40 going. So different surface and different symbols, so that you know that there are no olders in this race.
Yeah, they call them. I You've mentioned it for years.
Yes.
Too. There should be a symbol denoting that.
And the reason I really bang on it is the idea that I in Excel changed it. They could put 3 with the asterisk, but I have a different symbol. You don't use the carrot.
And
because it indicates that was the condition, but nobody entered.
When you get to this time of year, it starts to become a little less. But early in the year, handicappers of all stripes will know, this is the 3-year-old stepping in against older. If it's that much of a handicapping notation, it should be noted in the past.
I agree with you. All right, he stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. We're kicking off the weekend. Right now, it's beautiful out. Who the heck knows what it'll be in 30 minutes? We'll see you tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.